I couldn't imagine not being there for that. We just celebrated her first birthday. We threw her a 1-year-old birthday party. I couldn't imagine myself not being there for that. Seeing her, watching her with all these people around that are celebrating her and loving on her, and her dad is not there to do it. I just could not imagine that. Changing her diaper. I couldn't imagine not seeing like her fall and start crying and me pick her up and hold her because, you know, she fell and now she's crying and now she wants someone there to console her. And I don't understand how you could go to sleep at night or look yourself in the mirror and you are just not in your kid's life. I don't understand it. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Flip That Switch. I am your host, Brandon, aka B to the Sis Naive, and we're back with another episode. If you didn't get a chance to go back and watch the previous episode, please go back and watch it. I interviewed my homie Jody on her story and how she just persevered through challenges and overcame adversity to get to where she is today. So please go back and watch that. As a matter of fact, before you watch this one, go back and watch that one. But today we're going to be diving into another episode talking about fatherhood. My daughter just turned, man, she just turned 1 years old last week, and just the milestone and celebrating that and looking back over this last year and the journey that we took to get here, I just started reflecting and looking myself in the mirror and just thinking about all the challenges that we went through, all the positives, the ups and downs, the highs and lows. And when I tell you, I couldn't be not only more proud of Destiny, but also, to pat my own self on the back, I'm proud of myself just for how we just been tag teaming this thing. And we just really been coming together and parenting my daughter just the best way we can. And it's just been amazing. It's been a great journey. Just looking back over to the IVF that we went through and now where we are today has just been nothing short of amazing. So I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about just my journey over this last year, the ups and downs I've gone through as a father and, kind of what's to come as far as like just continuing to be present in her life. Because at the end of the day, we all need fathers, and when I came into this thing, I didn't know what to expect. All I know is that I wanted to be a better father for my daughter than I received from my dad. And there were things that I was still kind of nervous about. Like I was nervous about, am I going to do the right things? Am I going to say the right things? Are are me and Destiny going to align on parenting? Are our styles going to be so different that we clash? Like there was a lot of things that I was racing through my head. Like, am I gonna be present? How much is too much? How much is not enough? And so those things kind of went through my head. Like, am I gonna be present when she has her first birthday? So it was nerve wracking at first, and it kind of showed right when she first came into the world. Like I was just so nervous. I didn't know if I was doing everything right. I was impatient because every time she would get sick, I'd be like, "Hey, we need to take her to the doctor." When she started going to daycare, she got sick, and I was like, "Okay, we need to pull her from daycare," because I'm like, man, I hate seeing her struggle when she's sick. I hate that the coughing and the wheezing and the runny nose and the sneezing and all that, and just seeing her going through that, especially at a young age. Like she just got into this world, and so now it's like to see her going through that, my impatience started creeping, and I'm like, man, we need to pull her from this daycare. And Destiny's like, no, we can't pull her. It's gonna be okay. It's just something that they have to go through to build up their immune system. Even her mom was like, don't pull her. It's something that they have to go through for their immune system, and it has to build up, and they got to continue to get strong in that area. So don't pull her, just continue to let her go through it. And I'm like, All right, but in my mind, I'm still like, man, the next time she gets sick, we out of there, you know. But obviously, I've gotten better over this last year as far as like my patience with that type of stuff. But just really seeing her mature and grow up and develop, and it just brings me so much happiness. And I don't mean to be rude, but I have to question dads that aren't in their kids' lives. Like, I don't understand how you could go to sleep at night or look yourself in the mirror and you are just not in your kid's life. I don't understand it. Like, I don't know how you could not show up for their basketball games or not be present at their gymnastics meets or their track meets or parent teacher conferences. I don't understand why you wouldn't be there to want to invest in your kids. It's amazing to me because even as I watch my daughter mature and grow up, I'm like, man, just seeing her walk. She's walking now. She's more attentive now. She's more curious now. And she is talking a little bit, saying words. And I couldn't imagine not being there for that. We just celebrated her first birthday, like I said, and we threw her a 1-year old birthday party. I couldn't imagine myself not being there for that. Seeing her, watching her with all these people around that are celebrating her and loving on her, and her dad is not there to do it. I just could not imagine that. I couldn't imagine changing her diaper. I couldn't imagine not seeing like her fall and start crying and me pick her up and hold her because you know she fell and now she's crying and now she wants someone there to console her. And so because I'm present, because I'm there, I can do that. And so I don't get it. I don't get how you can have kids and just not be there, especially for the critical moments, especially for the critical years. And at the end of the day, like, some people, they make up for it later on, right? Like, sometimes relationships can be healed, they can be saved, and now when you're in your 40s or 50s, those relationships are healed and saved. But it's like you still weren't there for the critical years. The years where they were growing up, the years where they were trying to figure things out, the years when they had the most questions, the years when they're coming into adolescence and then being a teenager and then being a young adult and then an adult. Like, those are the most critical years. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, how can I not be there for my daughter to graduate elementary and graduate junior high and then go into high school and then start dating and then go to prom? I'm just thinking over like the future and what's going to come, and just knowing that, like, just the idea of me not being there, it would devastate me. It would make me sick to my stomach. And so I don't get it, but teach his own. At the end of the day, I think that I've learned a lot being a father. I think it's challenged me in ways that I haven't been challenged before. Just the fact that, like, I am sacrificing more than I've ever sacrificed in my life. I'm compromising more than I've compromised in my life. I'm having to die to self. I'm having to really just become selfless. And not to say that I already wasn't like that, but having her is just like, it is taking it to a whole nother level. It's allowed me to really just tap into my maturity as a man and as a father, because it's nothing like having to change a diaper, especially when your baby has diarrhea. I never forget, a couple weeks ago, well, maybe about a month ago, she had got real sick and she had diarrhea. And so for y'all that have kids, obviously, when they have diarrhea, you're changing diapers, like, it could be every hour on the hour. And that was a challenge for me, but I embraced it, right? Never once was I like impatient or annoyed or irritated. I just did what I had to do. Me and Destiny would take turns changing diapers. We'd, you know, wipe her down and make sure we put cream on her so she doesn't get like diaper rash and things of that nature. And like this might come off weird, but I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed being there and being present to be able to change those poopy diapers, or to be able to give her medicine, or you know we had went to the pediatrician, they prescribed her a antibiotic, and just the fact that I was able to give that to her every day, um, just those things, just really tapping into being a parent and what parenting is all about. Because parenting is not honestly just when things are good. Like, yeah, you'd want her to sleep throughout the night. Yeah, you'd want her to not get sick. Yeah, you'd want it to be a situation where you don't change as many diapers, or you don't have to give her as many bottles. But that's just not a reality, right? The reality is that she needs all that, especially when she's sick. She needs you to be more attentive, because she's going to be more curious and attentive, and she's going to need more attention when she's sick. Holding her when she's sick, consoling her, rubbing her back, making sure that she knows that you are there. And then even in the midst of realizing that by you being close to her, you may get sick. But it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, I can't help that. I have to be there. At first, I used to ask myself this question. I'm like, man, what if she got sick? Like, would I wear a mask? Which is crazy. Now that I look back on it, I was asking myself, like, this was the selfishness in me, right? I would ask myself, like, would I wear a mask so I don't get sick? Because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, she's a baby, so her getting sick, okay, I can't afford to get sick because I got stuff to do. But now that I look back on it, it's so weird, because it's like, well, if she gets sick, then if I get sick, then that's okay. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to wear no mask. I'm just going to be there, be present. It's not like I can put on a mask or do this, because she's got cooties or whatever. It's like, nah, bro, like, you can't do that. You have to be there. And if you get sick, so be it. At the end of the day, it'll go away. And so now I look at it as like, I'm still there, and she's sick. If I get sick, cool. If not, then it is what it is. But that's just an example of like the selflessness that I've taken on now being a father. So it's been a wonderful ride. Because I came into this as a because I came into this at a disadvantage, I'm having to really tap into making sure that I bounce ideas off of people, look to fathers that I know are out here killing it and doing a good job, and making sure that their kids know that they're there, they're present. So I've been doing a good job of reaching out and asking people questions, because I didn't have nothing to compare to. It would have been easy, like, if I had a father in my life, to be like, you know what, okay, these are some things that I can take away from that. These are some things that I can do, that I can't do, and that, what works and what looks successful. But to be honest with you, I didn't have that example. So for me, it's like, man, just going into this thing blind, just make, like, there's no manual, there's no blueprint. You really just go into a blind, and you just make sure that you are aligned with your partner. And I think just me and Destiny being aligned has really, really helped me, and it's molded me, and it's shaped me into what I am today. I couldn't imagine going through this with a partner where you're not aligned, and it's always arguing, it's chaotic. You never agree on anything. Like, the parenting would just be crazy, and the child would be there to witness that. And that's another thing. Like, I've realized also that Ocean sees everything. She's smart. Babies are smarter than what we give them credit for. Like, they see everything, right? So, like, in those moments where she's just looking at us talk, those are moments that I take advantage. Like, maybe I'll kiss Destiny on the forehead, or I'll give her a hug, or I'll show Ocean that, that love exists, because that is the example that she's going to see. That's the only example that we want her to see. Yeah, she's going to watch TV. She'll be, at some point she'll go outside and stuff like that. But it starts in the home, right? It starts with parenting in the home. And so if I can give her that example that will allow her to grow up, then she'll meet somebody and be like, you know what, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what I expect. my daddy did this, so you know, I'm not gonna accept anything short of that, you know. And so just giving her that example, just loving on Destiny, just making sure we, minimize arguments as much as we can, but our communication is there so she can see what that looks like. It's been an amazing journey. And y'all, so now Destiny's already ready for baby number two. Actually, you know what's funny? Destiny wants 4 kids. 4 kids, y'all. 4. Now, when we first came into this, I was like, let's just do 2, a boy, preferably a boy and a girl. Let's see, and then I'll be done with that. But now Destiny's like, I want 4. I enjoy being pregnant. And I'm like, woo, 4 kids. Oof, that's a lot. We had I had my in-laws here, and 2 of my sister-in-laws, they have kids. And so, at one point I was in the playpen, and all 3 of the kids, my daughter, my sister-in-law's daughter, and my other sister-in-law's daughter was in the playpen with me, and we were all just playing and interacting. And I was looking at all 3 of them. I'm like, dang, could I really do 3 under 3? And I was like, ooh, that would be tough. I don't know. Because it go like I know there are people out here that have 3 and 4 and 5 kids and stuff like that. And I'll say this before I continue on. Shout out to the mothers who are doing it by themselves. Much respect to you, much admiration for you. I I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. Um it's just such an admiration, because you get up every single day. You don't make any excuses. You don't feel sorry for yourself. You don't have a pity party. You don't want people to feel sorry for you. It's actually the opposite. You want people to see that you're out here doing it, that you're out here still grinding, so they can follow in your footsteps, especially if that's their situation. So for the mothers that's out here doing it, more power to you. I just respect you. I commend you. And it's just a testimony to God, number one, but also for yourself, that God is just putting you in a position where he's not putting anything on you more than you can bear. And I know that at times it gets tough. I know that at times you want to throw in the towel. I know that it's times where you want to give up. But the fact that you are still continuing to do it, grind, take care of yours, be the mother that God has called you to be, is truly, truly an admiration. So just want to give y'all your flowers, because I don't know how you do it. But anyway, so yeah, so I started to think like, man, could I do 3 under 3? And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, as good as baby as Ocean is, it's like 3 of her. That would be a lot, man. That would be a lot. Even with Destiny being there, I don't know. It would be a lot. So I was asking myself, but I got a little taste of it this past weekend. It was fun. It was cool. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was very, very fun. But whoosh, me and Destiny, we gotta seriously have a talk about that one, because 4 of them, 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but she wants 4. So yeah, so we'll see about that. But in this last year, just I have just grown so much, just as a man, as a human being, as a father, and I have really just taking on the task of just making sure my daughter is great, making sure she's good. And that right there has just been an amazing journey for me. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed every aspect of it. Yeah, there's been ups and downs and highs and lows, but I think for the most part, it's been such a great ride for me, such a great journey for me. And I know it's been a great journey for Destiny, but I've loved it. Just dropping her off at daycare, just picking her up, just bringing her home, just even that time where Destiny went on a bachelorette trip, and I had her just for those couple days. I was like, man, like literally when she went on that trip, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this because I'd never been with her overnight by myself, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I just don't. I don't see it, and I was nervous. I almost what's funny is I almost didn't, in my selfish way, I almost didn't want Destiny to go on that trip because I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do this. But we hung in there. We hung out every day. I got her dressed, gave her baths, fed her. I mean, did the normal things that we would do. It was just me doing it by myself. And it was fun. We had such a blast, such a fun time, such a great time. It was just having that daddy daughter time and bonding. It was, man, it was so many beautiful moments, and I enjoyed it. I was never like, okay, man, I can't wait for Destiny to come back because I don't know what I'm doing here. It was never that type of moment, never that type of situation. I was like, man, to be honest, you can stay, you can stay gone even longer. And so it was just an incredible time I had with her, just being alone with her and then there was one day where, I hung out with some other dads who had their daughters with them because their wives was also a part of that bachelorette trip. And so we just brought our daughters to a restaurant, ate, talked, and it was fun. It was cool. Just on some, it was like it felt like being in a dad's club. And so I had so much fun doing that, and just having the daughters there interacting and around each other, and then talking to the dads. I was like, okay, that solidified that, you know what, I can actually do this. This is cool. This is fun. This is exciting. So I would say, a lot of times when I'm having guests on my show, I always ask them, like, if you were sitting across from your 20-year-old something or your 30-year-old something, what are some of the things that you would, or like if they came to you for advice, what are some of the things that you would tell them? So in the same breath, I'm going to talk to my 20-year-old self, because there's a lot of people out there that are struggling. Maybe they're not in their kids' lives, whatever the case may be, or maybe they feel like they're not doing enough, they're not present enough, they're not giving their kids that example that they need. And they're worried about that. They're nervous about that. First of all, I would tell you this: be present. Be present. You cannot be present enough. And I've realized that. I would ask myself, how much is enough? No, there's no amount of enough. You know, I want to always be there with Ocean. I always want to be present. I always want to make sure that my daughter feels that she is protected, she's cared for, that daddy is here, that if she cries or if something's going on, daddy's going to be there. And so I would tell you, be present, always be present, no matter what. There might be a situation where you're trying to figure things out with your kid's mother. Maybe y'all are not on the best of terms. Maybe y'all separated, broken up, whatever the case may be, and y'all are not on good terms. Do not let that affect the child. Your relationship with your kid's mother has nothing to do with your kids. At the end of the day, you still got to be there for them, because you know what? They didn't ask to be here. And you still you still got to be present. You still have to be in their lives. You still have to be that example for them. Even if it's a co-parenting situation, so be it. The fact of the matter is, your kids need to know that their mom and their dad both exist, and that they can look to them, especially to help them grow up. Because I promise y'all, man, like I'm trying to tell y'all, if they don't see the example with you, society is going to provide them that example. Social media is going to provide them that example. And I can tell you right now, you don't want social media or society providing that example, because basically they're going to provide them the example of what they should not be doing, you know? And so I'm telling you, y'all have got to be there and be present and be fully present and be engaged. Ask your kids questions. Like, what's going on in your world? My daughter, she's not obviously old enough for me to ask her those questions, but I promise you, soon as we can communicate and soon as she can communicate, those questions are going to get asked. It's about really just investing in your kids, investing in what their needs, investing in them, asking those questions, putting in the work, putting in the time to really understand what's going on with them. And that way they can know that you're there and you're present and that they can lean on you and rely on you, but also so you can know what's going on with them, you know? So be present. I would also say part of being that example is just making sure that, if you are a single parent, just making sure that, your kids don't see different men or women coming up in the house. You don't want them to get the impression that that's okay, right? Personally, like I would say, and I'm not in this position, but I would say to advise like date first. And then after, let's say you're getting serious with the person, you think it's going somewhere, maybe y'all are exclusive, y'all have titles, at that point, maybe you can introduce your kids. But, I wouldn't have my kids around people that I'm just getting to know. Like first date, second date situation, no. You don't want your kids getting the impression that it's okay to be having different men or women coming up in and out of the house. That's just not going to be a good look, because if they start thinking that's okay, then guess what? They're going to start following in your footsteps. And you definitely don't want that. And so I would say really be intentional who you date, who you let around your kids, and just be aware that your kids are always watching you. They're always watching you. They're watching every little thing you do. They're looking at every little thing you do. They are nosy. My daughter, she's 1 year old, but she's nosy. Anytime there's a movement, a sound made, anytime we get up, she's looking. She's looking. And she's to the point where she's walking and following us around the house. So every time we go somewhere, she's following us. You hear those little feet paddling on the ground, running after us. And she's like, Dad, 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 Dad. Dad, 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 dad. Like she's always doing that now. So they're aware, they're watching. They are coming after you. They're watching, they're curious. And the more and more you create a pattern, the more and more they're going to see that and they're going to think that that's okay. So I would just really monitor who you bring in your home, really monitor who you let around your kids. I mean, you need to be doing all types of checking, research, fact checking, getting questions answered. I mean, all of that before you bring, before you bring them around your kids. One of the great things about just having a daughter is just, I think that I have really created a mindset to be like, you know what? Because even being married, I'd still have to watch who I bring around mine. At the end of the day, like there's certain vibes and energy that I'm just not gonna have around my child. If I sense any type of negative energy, any type of bad vibes, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I want my daughter to be around positive people. I want the community for my daughter to be a positive community, just like anybody else does, right? So it's like for me, it's like if I got my daughter around somebody negative, the energy's there, she's gonna pick up on that. And again, she's a child. They soak in everything. They're like a sponge. They soak everything in. The stuff that we think we soak in, a child soaks in even more. And as they grow, they're gonna see that. And so you have to be careful about the vibes, about the energy that you bring around your child. You have to protect your child's innocence, right? All our children are innocent right now. My daughter's innocent right now. She doesn't know what's going on. She's innocent, and as her parent, as her father, I got to protect that. You know what I mean? Like I have to protect that at all costs. And so you do as well, right? And so you just want to make sure that you are just surrounding her around people that are going to love on her, that are going to have positive vibes and energy, and that just people that you're intentional about, people that you care about, that care about you. You have their best interests at heart, they have your best interests at heart, and you know that okay, I can bring this person around my child, because I know at the end of the day, my child is still going to be good and protected and cared for. And so I would say that. So yeah, man, it's I can't wait to see what the future holds, right? Like, as because I mean, now that she's one, she's officially a toddler now. It's so funny because we brought her to school the other day, and the classroom that we were taking her to, they said, no, 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 she's one now. So she's in a different classroom now. So I went down to the other classroom, and even just that little milestone, like I was so happy about, because it's like, wow, it's like I am here to see my daughter go from infant to toddler now. She's a whole, like I have a whole toddler, yo. Like it's wild. It's crazy. We have a whole toddler. And so just even that little milestone, it was just great for me to see. And I just love being a part of that. And as she gets older, as she goes into her 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, year old stages, I'm just looking forward to really her maturation, really her growth, her development. You know, I'm a little nervous because obviously, I know about the terrible twos and stuff, and everybody talks to me about the terrible twos and how terrible the twos really are. So I'm kind of nervous and interested to see how we gonna get in. When she gets into that stage, what it's gonna look like. But I'm also embracing the journey, right? I'm also understanding that even if she becomes a terrible two, at the end of the day, that still doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm still her father. I still have to be her father. I'm still going to continue to be her father and love her no matter what, unconditionally. Even when, if she is bad, if she's jumping on couches, jumping off countertops, just doing what kids do. At the end of the day, she's just doing what kids do at that age. So I'm really excited to see the journey, and I'm not rushing it by any means. I'm not rushing her to grow up. To be honest with you, I don't want her to like grow up fast, because I want to be able to take in all the memories I can. But at the same time, I am looking forward to the maturation process, just how she continues to grow and develop, and how her walking turns into running. you know um just we want to give her swim lessons, so she'll be know how to swim. We got some bucket list items we still got to cross off with her and do with her, and just taking her to her pediatrician appointments. Looking forward to what the pediatrician has to say. So all those things, I'm just truly looking forward to, and I can't wait to see what life brings us as parents, what life brings her as my daughter. And you never know, I might be doing one of these conversations with one more next time. Or I mean, if Destiny has her way, 2 or 3 more. But we'll see. But anyway, I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about just what this last year has looked like for me. It's been great. It's been wonderful. It's been challenging. It's been a lot of sacrificing, but I've embraced it. I've appreciated the journey, and just us going through IVF and what we went through, and now she's here. It really just makes it a full circle moment to see what we got going on now, because we didn't think this would be possible. I didn't think I'd be a father. I didn't think we could do it. I didn't think she would arrive. But the fact that God made it possible just shows really that we don't have the final say. It's not our decision. It's not the doctor's decision. It's really God's decision on if this is going to happen or not. And he made this happen for us. And so I say that to say, he is the source from whom all blessings flow. And, we're nothing without him. We wouldn't have anything, nor would we be anything without him. We got to start realizing, understanding that he holds the power. He has all the power. He's omnipotent, which means he has all power. And so the fact that she's here now is just a testament to him and who he is and his power. So just looking forward to it. And we're going to keep this train running. And Yeah, that's about all I got. Just make sure that you are tuning into IG where I post reels from the episodes. And if you can't watch us, you can also listen to us wherever you get your podcast and flip that switch. So just make sure one way or the other you're tapping into us. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, if you have a story that you think would resonate with people that you want to get out there, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Would love to interview you and get your story out. So if that's you, please make sure you hit me in the comments and let me know, and we'll get you on the show as a guest. But other than that, I just want to thank y'all so much for tuning in to Flip That Switch. And thank you so much for all those who have subscribed, who have shared the episodes, who have watched the episodes. Even if you watched clips of the episodes on IG and you liked them, you commented, you shared. Truly, truly appreciate you guys. We're going to see y'all for the next episode. And we out. Peace.